The Nothing But Niners crew is back. We are here, guys, and guess what? Shazam! The whole crew is here. I like playing around with all these little things, man. All right, so we got my man Nick. We got my man Anthony. I'm here. Nothing But Niners is in the building. NB Niners, we're everywhere, guys. So let's start with the formalities. Check out the website. It's www.nothingbutniners.com. There you're going to see a bunch of great articles written by a bunch of great people. You're going to see a whole lot of stuff that you guys are going to love. I promise you. We have a page dedicated to you faithful. All you guys have to do is send in pictures, and boom, we'll pop you up there with everybody else. Make sure you tune in there, okay, guys? Tell people about us also. Don't be selfish with your 49ers fandom. Tell them, hey, Nothing But Niners, these guys are doing something on their website. You should be a part of it. Spread the word, guys. Let everybody know about us, all right? You're also going to see our social media pages. We have Twitter and Snapchat. They are Nothing But 9 ERS, all right? So if you guys want to give us a follow over there, that is where you guys will find us. Nothing But the number 9 ERS, all right? Let me put that up on the screen here so you guys know that handle. Nothing But 9 ERS. Bada boom, bada boom, bada boom. I'm sorry, I had to do it, man. All right, guys, you can also check us out on Instagram as well as Twitter. That is Nothing But Niners, spelled all the way out, okay? Spaces in between, no numbers in there anywhere like that. I am 49ers Mike _NFL. My man Nick is here. He is 49er Faithful 365 all day, every day. And Perry is in the building. He is Perry _NB9, guys. It's a Niner gang thing, man. We are in here. Fellas, what's going on? What's good, man? How y'all feeling today? What's up?
What up, what up, what up? Yes. Can I effing talk for a minute? Is back. That's right. I seen a comment in there that said, what's up, Perry? What's up, Patrick Willis? And what's up, can I effing talk for a minute? Love it, love it, love it. I'm chilling, man, chilling. We've been on a little hiatus, day 7, day 8 training camp, busy weekend for all of us. So I'm ready to talk some Niner football.
All right, and Perry over there in the corner, still a little off center, but I won't tell him anything. What's up, big playboy? How you doing, man?
Oh, how's that? Okay. How's it going, guys? It's good. Day 7 and day 8, I guess a quick summary from what I know is that Bosa is the real deal. I think we can all make that really clear. Bosa has been lighting it up for every day in training camp, it sounds like. And I can't wait to get into it. This is the time to talk Niners. Training camp is so minute, but at the same time, it shows so much about the players in the current roster. So I'm excited to talk about it. I've been waiting to talk about it because there's so much to go on about. So let's get it. I'm ready.
Cinemonkeys is in the building. You guys see her name there. She says a cinnamon kiss. I don't care. I like Cinemonkeys better. It's more team friendly. Can't be telling my wife I'm calling a lady kiss. All right. So that's it, man. You are absolutely right, though, Perry, man. We've been hearing a lot of stuff, Anthony, Perry. I don't know. I'm going to call you Perry because that's what's under your name now, so you got to forgive me for that one. But we've been hearing a lot of positive things about Nick Bosa. Some of it's fluff, I think. Some of it's all true. But, it is what it is. You got to take the good with the bad and everything somewhere in the middle. You know what I mean? Not a lot of bad about this guy, though. I'm waiting for people to say his motor looks like that or da-da-da-da. Kyle Shanahan said he's had him on a pitch count. They were allowed to do 16 snaps, so they were only doing 12. They're going to ramp it up a little bit, give him 16. I mean, what do you think, Nick? Do you think that he's holding back, or is the team holding him back, or is this just what it's going to be?
No, I mean, I think the team's holding him back a little bit, trying to get his legs under him. Even more so, he said the other day, Kyle Shanahan said, we'd like to get him, 12 to 15 snaps. Excuse me. And Kyle also said, somebody said, well, I think he was out there for more than 12 snaps today. He said, yeah, well, it kind of feels that way because he's always producing. So, I think it's going to be good, but we'll see how many snaps he gets, man.
I'm sorry. I just saw this Abby for Barack O'Niner, and that is hilarious. Shout out to that guy. Yeah, Shanahan said that, he's really paying attention to the offense when the defense is out there, and he only notices if, like, a play is delayed or something like that, and it seems like he's always out there. So he doesn't even notice that he's not out there. So it's pretty cool hearing all this stuff. I have some notes here from day 8. Let's see here. We have a strong day from Jimmy Garoppolo. He was 14 out of 21. Jimmy Garoppolo, man, Grant Cohn has been tracking every single throw. Did you guys see this thread on Twitter today?
I did not see on Twitter today for Grant Cohn, no.
All right. So he has a let me see. I'm going to pull it up because I had to ask him a question about it. All right, it's right here. So he did a ranking of, not so much a ranking. He's been charting every single throw that Jimmy Garoppolo has made. Nothing to do with Mullins, nothing to do with Beathard, specifically Jimmy Garoppolo. Who do you guys think is the most targeted receiver for Jimmy Garoppolo? Now, if you know the answer, don't say it. But Nick said he didn't see it, so I definitely want Nick to guess. Anthony, did you see it today? Oh, so you can't answer. All right, Nick. Who do you think is the most targeted guy for Jimmy Garoppolo? Not on the team, Jimmy Garoppolo.
For Jimmy Garoppolo?
No, for Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yeah, Jimmy Garoppolo.
No, Jimmy Garoppolo. I'm just messing with you, man. Don't.
Let's see.
All right, Big Heck. I see the comment up there. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'll go with Let's go with, man, I want to say Marquise or Trent. Let's go with Trent.
All right, well, technically, you're not wrong, but you're not right either. It's a tie between Pettis and Trent. 18 targets. Now, he's tracked targets and he's also tracked receptions. Trent Taylor has the most catches from Jimmy Garoppolo. He's caught 11 of those 18, while Dante Pettis has caught only 7. So I want to ask you guys what this means to you. I'm gonna read this list really quick, and then you guys try to keep a mental note of who I'm saying and how many targets and receptions they have. And then let's talk about this really quick to try to figure out what's going on with this team, okay? So Garoppolo to Dante Pettis, 18 targets, 7 catches. Trent Taylor, 18 targets, 11 catches. George Kittle, 16 targets, 10 catches. Tevin Coleman, 13 catches, 13 targets, 5 catches. Okay. Jordan Matthews, 9 targets, 8 catches. Kendrick Bourne, 3 for 3, and Richie James is 2 of 3. So Richie James has 3 targets with only 2 receptions. When you guys hear these numbers, and, Marquise Goodwin's name wasn't on here. Let me see if he ended up answering that to someone else. But I don't see Marquise Goodwin on here anywhere. I will see if I can find it. But what do these numbers tell you guys about all of this? Because this is I found this really interesting personally. So I don't want to share my thoughts. I want to get your guys' thoughts on it. Or I can share my thoughts and you guys jump in afterwards. It don't matter. You guys let me know how you want to do it.
I'll take the bet, or I'll lead off. Before I break it down, Grant said that Goodwin is 3 of 8, 3 catches on 8 targets from Garoppolo. So with that being said, going to the main amount of targets, I want to say that with the way Kyle Shanahan uses his wide receivers, we know how scheme dependent they are, and we know how situational based they are. And I get that this is Pettis' second year, but I think Shanahan is going to try and make Pettis the most when finding him in the middle of the field rather than on the outside hashes. That's just my opinion, though. We know that Shanahan loves to scheme things open in the middle of the field. He loves to create space for guys, for playmakers like Pettis and like Kittle, and hopefully eventually Goodwin and Deebo and etc. But with that being said, I hope Dante Pettis' 18 targets are a sign that Garoppolo is looking for him past 20 yards, not just 10 to 15, not just 5 to 10, because I feel like that's what Trent Taylor is. We saw how good he was on third down, whether it be 3rd and 10, 3rd and 5. He's a good short yardage receiver. But I don't think, as far as we've seen, that Taylor has that type of playmaking ability in the middle of the field like Pettis does. I mean, we saw how he stiff-armed a Seahawks DB into the ground and did it so hard he came back up. So it's things like that where you can say, okay, Pettis is a playmaker in the middle of the field, just like Kittle. But I don't know, and I don't really feel like Taylor has that ability as much as the others. So I want to say I feel like this is an indication that Garoppolo is targeting Taylor on 3rd and short or 2nd and short or whatever the situation may be between 5 and 10 yards. Whereas to Pettis, like I said, I'm hoping is at least within 20 yards. Even if it's 15 to 20, that's fine. But I feel like these amount of targets are just situational based, and hopefully not just a sign of, how do I say it? Not just a sign that Garoppolo is looking for these guys just to try and throw to him rather than actually picking and choosing and reading the field and seeing who's the right receiver to throw to. You know what I mean? So that's how I break down more or less. I think it's situational based, but Garoppolo has his favorites. We saw that he has his favorites with Taylor on third down when he was healthy. In the handful of games that Garoppolo played with Pettis, 3? I felt like he was targeting Pettis as much as he could in the middle of the field. So it's things like that to look for, things like that I can feel like I can take away from this. But it's all up in the air. As for right now, I honestly don't think these two are his overall favorite targets yet, because he's still yet to see a fully healthy Goodwin, and he's still yet to see a fully adapted Deebo Samuel on top of Jalen Hurd and Tevin Coleman.
But these are to say who has been the favorite receiver in training camp so far, correct? This is what has been going on in training camp.
This is just through training camp. This is
right.
Just targets and receptions from Garoppolo in training camp, yes.
See, I feel differently about Pettis. I don't think he's across the middle type of guy. I think he shorthands a lot of stuff across the middle, and that could be because of the fact that he just doesn't want to get hit in training camp. And we're not really doing hitting in training camp, but I mean, you still got to. I saw that one comment I put up there. You still got to kind of toughen up and make those contested catches. And I think that's where a lot of Dante Pettis' drops are coming, is when he's in traffic. Those contested catches, you see every day that he, not all of his catches, but the one that he had wide open. Jimmy Garoppolo had him wide open for a touchdown, went right through his arms. Literally just put his arms up and dropped it. So I kind of look at Dante Pettis a little different. I don't think he's more of a middle type guy. He's not a middle type guy like Deebo Samuel would be. And I know I'll probably get slack for this, but Trent Taylor still catches the football in the middle of the field. Obviously, he's a slot guy. But I don't see that from Dante Pettis yet. Will it ever come about? I don't know. Pettis bulked up a little bit. See how it comes along. I don't know about anybody else, man, but just from training camp news so far, and you know how I am, I'm not trying to get really involved in the media hype and things like that, but I'm a little worried about Pettis this year. I truthfully am.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm not too worried about Pettis. I just had a comment up there from Hawk Hater, and he was saying that the team, we don't know what these targets and all that mean. Shanahan, I was listening to a Shanahan presser, and he said he was like, there's times where we come out in practice and we throw 15 times straight. So, these things don't really mean anything. We're working on specific things. Certain routes we want a very specific receiver to run, and then we're going to do something. I think they're grooming Pettis to be wide receiver 1, but they want to see if he can handle the pressure. I don't think the targets or receptions are as important as how much they're working him physically. You know what I mean? So there are times where they call a play and the quarterback has to throw it to Pettis, whether he's double covered, triple covered or not. And Shanahan also said on record that the team, they do certain times and drills where the defense knows the exact play the offense is going to run and vice versa. So they're just going out there and kind of going through the motions, but they're putting this team in certain situations to try to overcome. And so when I first saw this list, I was like, damn, man, like Pettis is really screwing up and Bourne is doing good. But then there were other things to think about, like, Pettis is on the outside. Good one's going to be on the outside. These guys are out there. And so the 2 or 3 guys closest to the quarterback during a play are going to be the running back, the tight end, usually the tight end, I should say, and the slot guy. Those are the guys that run the shortest route. So they're easier throws to complete. And so all that stuff plays a role in my mind. But again, like JD was saying, it's not a lot to take into account, but it was something that I thought was really, really interesting and caught my attention. Especially when you go back and you listen to the interviews of certain players and the wide receivers, for example. Bourne says, I don't get a lot of targets, but when I do, I want to make sure I make the best of it. You know what I mean? They're not working him in that way. People are praising him. Oh, he was doing this in the red zone, doing that in the red zone. But he flat out told you, I don't care who the quarterback is. When they call my number, I want to be able to answer. And so these guys are trying to make the best of what's going on out there. But I know that a lot of people were overreacting to Grant's tweet, and I just don't think it's something that we should absolutely take stock into. Man, Dante Pettis is going to get the most targets in the game, or Trent Taylor is going to get the most targets. I don't think that's necessarily indicative of it. So we'll see what happens. You got to also have to keep in mind that there were guys who weren't practicing with the team right away. Remember, Samuel missed a couple of days of practice in the beginning of camp. You know what I mean? So it's things like that we have to try to keep that in mind and just see what happens. I saw you, Nick. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. I was going to agree with you. I don't think this is indicative as to who's going to be a leading receiver or things like that. I think that's reading into it a little too much. But it also goes for the same thing. If you're out there, you need to catch the damn football. But
what Grant did,
like Warren was saying, where whatever opportunity I get and my number is called, I got to make the best of it. You've heard Bourne say, that when he goes out there, the competition in this room is so good that you can't afford to have these bad days. Now, I'm not saying Dante Pettis is going to get cut. Don't take me that way. But Dante Pettis has a lot to step up. And pressure or not pressure, I mean, you're in the NFL. If you're the best receiver on a team, you got to start playing like a number one receiver. Whether you're going to be it or not, they're calling your number. You got to do what you got to do.
Yeah. Another thing Grant said was that he wasn't tracking batted passes or anything like that. He's looking at specifically who was targeted and the result of the play. So there's a lot of stuff that goes into it. And if you're not there, you don't get a chance to see it all. You know what I mean? So that was one of the notes for the day. I didn't want to cut anybody off. So if you guys have anything else to say on it, you know what I'm saying? Say what you got to say. Speak now or forever hold your peace. All right, peace. Yeah, the next note Anthony touched on in the beginning of this was Bosa is being disruptive. I got forced fumble, sack, and multiple pressures and limited reps. That was the note that I had here, and this was for day 8. I mean, it's a lot of fun to watch this stuff happening, man. I don't know about you guys, but this is, I don't necessarily subscribe to all the Joe Staley's pulling him aside and asking him why he does this and why he does that and picking his brain and as if Joe Staley's trying to get better from him. I do think that they're talking. I do think that they're having conversations about, practice and things like that. But I don't think it's Joe Staley's trying to get better from asking him questions. I do think that there's a relationship, though. The team is invested in Nick Bosa, and they want their veteran to make him better. So what do you guys think? I know Anthony touched on it, but, I mean, if you want to double back on it again, man, Nick Bosa is just disruptive every opportunity he gets. And they said whether it's one-on-ones or whether it's 11-on-11s. We heard about the play where Emmanuel Mosley picked up the fumble and ran it in for a touchdown. That was caused by Bosa. So what are your thoughts on it, man? You guys, sound off on it.
Yeah, I want to make it a point first that Joe Staley is getting up there in age, and again, I get it's training camp, so I highly doubt Staley is putting 100% effort into training. But with that being said, it's still Joe Staley. He's still arguably a top 10 tackle in the league. So seeing Bosa really go at Staley, and I think Bosa has had some reps against McGlinchey too, right? So seeing Bosa go after both of those guys and at least have success against both of them is really indicative of his motor, because it sounds like he's not taking any plays off. I never believed in the bad motor problems to begin with. That was, smoke on the water. I don't know, some weird saying. I think it shows his overall work ethic. And like Mike said, I wouldn't take too much consideration into Staley trying to pick apart Bosa. I still think it's more Bosa trying to pick apart Staley, because Bosa hasn't had to face any type of tackle like Staley. And again, he's not the same tackle that he used to be 5-10 years ago, but he's still a good tackle. He's still well above league average. So seeing Bosa perform well against him and perform well enough to get strip sacks, cause pressure, cause sacks, just wreak havoc on our O-line really shows how much of an impact he's already having. And I'm not saying also that our O-line is bad. I think it goes to show how good Bosa is already. And he's just a rookie. We all know that. He still has a lot to learn and a lot to develop. But if he's bringing into NFL practices what he was already bringing into Ohio State as a college player, well, then that really tells me what he has to offer as a player and as an athlete on that field. And I really believe that his impact is going to be felt immediately. With my comments being said, I want to ask you guys, do you think we'll see Bosa on day one, or excuse me, preseason game one?
Yes,
If it's just a drive series, what do you guys think?
I think so. Absolutely. He hasn't played football since what, October of the previous year. And I remember when they said that training camp opened up, it was his first time putting pads on him. He's got to get out there, even if it's just for, I don't care if it's just for 2 plays. He's got to get out there and get hit. You know what I mean? If this was the week of the joint practice before the game, then maybe not. But it's not it. That's not the case with this one. We're going up against the Cowboys, and so there's no joint practice. So he's gonna get out there.
I'm not at all taken back by what Nick Bosa is doing. I mean, I've been a Bosa fan for a long time. Obviously, I'm an Ohio State fan, so I watched a lot of him when he did play. Mike, we were talking about this before about how he wasn't very productive as in sacks, but he always created a ton of pressure. And I think what's going to happen this year is whether you get the sacks or the pressure from him, it's just going to open up more opportunities for the interior guys and as well as the other side for D Ford. But I mean, I'm not. This is exactly what I thought I have heard about Bosa coming into the NFL. I mean, the kid is a technician. He knows how to work his hands. He knows how to work his feet. He knows when to use power. He knows when to use an opposite move. It's just everybody's like, oh, he has short arms or he's small or this. And all those Bosa haters are pretty much gone. I mean, you don't really hear anything else about Nick Bosa and being a 49er.
They're not going. They're just waiting for him to break a fingernail or.
Well, I'm saying right now they're not saying anything right now. I've seen people who shit on him and the draft pick, and now they're praising him. So I've seen that. So, I mean, I'm sure though, it's the 49ers fans. I'm sure the minute he has one bad game and doesn't have a sack or something else, people will start to switch to route.
All right. We'll see.
So one last question I want to ask you guys real quick, I'm sorry, is throughout this training camp, we've been hearing a lot of how Bosa has been effective on passing situations. And we get it. That's sort of the main reason why we drafted him, is to wreak havoc in passing situations. But I want to ask you guys if you've seen anything about him on run defense, because I haven't really heard anything yet. And even then, with that being said, I also want to ask you guys, with not hearing about how he is on run defense, do you think that's possibly a sign that the Niners do use him on third downs only in likely passing situations?
No, he's not really playing any rundowns right now. He's playing on third downs with the first team, and he's playing a lot of third downs with the second team, from what I've seen. But I think that's because of his snap count.
Who are you talking about?
Nick Bosa. He's only playing on third downs with the ones right now. I
literally just got done talking about how he had the run play where he stripped the ball out and caused a fumble that Mosley picked up. I have not seen anywhere that he's restricted to what type of play he's taking part in. I know that he was on a pitch count, but I don't think that it was I didn't know it was for a specific down or distance.
Well, the report that I saw was he was mainly playing third downs with the ones. He was playing more run downs with the second team. But with the ones, he was mainly playing third down. That was third down passing situations is what I saw with the ones.
So that's what I was asking, though. With that being said, I get he's getting his own run defense worked in with the second team. But like I said, the reason why we drafted him is to wreak havoc on third down and passing situations. Does it have any type of concern or any thoughts in your guys' head that he's not working with the first team on run defense?
It doesn't to me because, like I said, I think it is mainly to do with. I think right now mainly it's to do with snap count, and we'll see when it comes to preseason games. I mean, obviously his snap counts or his pitch count, whatever you want to call it, is probably going to get boosted here a little bit as camp goes along. I mean, we only got 3 more days of camp till a first preseason game, and then where's it going to go after that?
Wait, so you're asking if we're worried about his run defense?
No, I'm asking, is it a sign that the Niners are likely going to use him on passing situations only with the lack of information about him playing run defense?
Oh, so you're basically asking, are we going to use him like they use Alvin Smith as rookie?
Exactly, yeah. I'm asking what you guys think.
Yeah. No. No, I don't think so. He's got a lot of money, and he's actually pretty solid against the run as well. So I think it's more the snap count. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. So that's the wrap up there for Nick Bosa. I got another note here. It says Samuel led all wideouts, 3 catches and a big touchdown. This was exciting to me because this is one of the first times that I heard any, I'm not going to say positive news about Deebo, but we have heard a lot about a lot of other wide receivers. And this was the first time that Deebo really got the spotlight. We heard about a play here, a play there, but other receivers, you heard about them like taking advantage and having a good day, not a good play. You know what I mean? We heard about the Richie James day. We heard about the Trent Taylor days. You know what I mean? We heard about the back-to-back days for Kendrick Bourne, but we haven't heard the day for Deebo Samuel. So this was the first time we heard anything about Tyshawn Samuel. Yeah, it's his real name. All right. It's the first time we heard anything about him having a good day and a big touchdown. And I don't know. Do you guys think that he was working through something and maybe he's just now coming back? Do you think it's just the way the ball bounced for him or what? I mean, I personally have felt like he's been maybe not, I'm not going to say a snap count, but I felt like the team has been kind of babying him, holding him back a little bit. I don't have any evidence of that. This is just, Mike theorizing. I don't have anything about that, but I just wanted to get your guys' thoughts on it all. How come we haven't heard more about our second round pick in Deebo Samuel?
Well, he's also running with the 2s, so I don't know if it's more so that he wasn't able to do it. I think it's probably more on the line of working him back in slowly. You heard him the other day too about knowing the playbook. He says, I'm not even halfway there. Like I have a lot to learn. And he says it's very complicated, I guess you could say. So that could have something to do with it. It could just be he's not where he needs to be right now. He did miss some of practice in the beginning, so he could just not be at that position that he's at yet, or they're still, watching that hamstring and things like that, and he's running a lot. I mean, he's running with the 2s. They're not getting as many snaps as well as the 1s, so it could just very well be just he's not ready yet.
All right, Anthony, any question on or any comment on why we haven't heard a lot from Samuel? But he did have a good day. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to take away from that either. If you guys want to discuss that too, feel free. But he's just kind of been like, play here, play there. This was a good day for him. So your thoughts on it and why it seems so limited?
Other than Trent Taylor, this is my opinion. I haven't felt like another wide receiver has really stood out like really well, because all I've been hearing about almost every training camp is Trent Taylor. So with that being said, I don't think this is too big of a thing. I do hope that it's the Niners just easing him into their practices, because he had minor prior injury history with a hip, I think. So it's stuff like that I think they're more concerned about. And with that being said too, the Niners' injury history has been bad the past 5-6 seasons, it feels like, even when we were successful. So it's like, I think with their reimagined focus on training and conditioning and approaching the players with more caution, I think that's the air side to what they're doing with Deebo Samuel too. like we saw last season with Pettis. Pettis got a nasty injury and he missed 5-6 games. And I do feel like a lot of the injuries last season were more coincidental rather than, oh, it's a soft tissue injury. But with that being said, I think again, they're just easing Deebo into the practices. I think they're just easing him into the game. And I think they do know his talent. I think they do understand the potential that he has. So I think letting him work with the second team is a good way to really help him understand the game better, help him unlock himself more. Because I'm not a big fan of throwing rookies right into the fire right away, especially when they need time to be groomed. They need time to understand Kyle Shanahan's system, which isn't easy for any wide receiver to come in and understand. So I think that's what Deebo is going through. I'm not going to say it's growing pains because you can't say a rookie's going through growing pains unless it's like Manziel or something really bad. So it's
just
them.
the process.
Yeah, exactly. No, really, trust the process. Deebo will need time. I think what South Carolina he came out of, we saw how effective he was, but he's coming into a real professional, arguably a Hall of Fame style offense in Kyle Shanahan. So being introduced into something that complex and that unique takes a lot of time. And it's an entire process that takes a whole offseason. And if Deebo doesn't get it down right away, that's okay. I just want to see him work past vanilla Kyle Shanahan and see him start to at least work into the playbook better. And if this team is competing come December, then I want to see Deebo really take the next step into understanding Shanahan's playbook entirely, because that's when he's going to need to understand it the most.
Okay. All right. Growing pains, so to speak, but I get what you're saying. Yeah, I like it, man. I absolutely like it. We got a good question here from Mark Cavanis. It says, love the content, fellas. My question is, what do we do with when our revamped defensive line does not perform? Is it getting rid of guys or continue to develop guys like Thomas and Armstead? Also, who is the physical dog mentality receiver? I'm going to start with the latter part of the question. The physical dog mentality receiver is definitely going to be Deebo. For all intents and purposes, that has been the guy that we know to be physical. He talked about how he got his nickname, and his dad teach him. I forget what the phrase was. He called the end zone. But anytime you got the ball in your hand, it was basically go eat. You got to head for the touchdown. Head for the end zone every time you get the ball in your hands. It wasn't be safe, get down, get out of bounds or anything. You got one direction, get the ball and go. He's that physical guy. As far as receivers go, the physical tight end I think is going to be Caden Smith. That was the one good thing that he did at Stanford. I can't think of anyone else really that I expect to be like that physical nasty guy. If you guys have someone, please let me know, because I would love to know who it is.
As much as I'm in agreement with you, I think we're talking about this year, so I agree with you with Deebo Samuel. I think he's gonna be that physical presence type of guy. He's that Pierre Garcon type of receiver, Anquan Bolden type of receiver. Latter years, I think we could probably add Hurd in there next year. I don't think he's going to perform too much this year. I mean, I think we'll utilize him, but I don't think he's going to be utilized as much as everybody thinks he's going to be. He's coming off injury. He is going to be working his way back slowly, but I think he'll definitely be trouble in this offense in years to come. But I definitely agree, for this year, seeing a dog is definitely Deebo Samuel.
Nick, who's your answer real quick aside from Deebo?
Oh, beside?
Yeah.
Deebo? Oh, I thought we were just giving one.
Well, he mentioned Hurd, but he said for next year.
Oh, okay. Okay, that was my question. I didn't hear that.
He mentioned
So
Hurd.
Before I get into what I want to say, I'm going to give you guys one guess on who said this quote, because it's really unique to me. So a certain Niners player was talking about a certain receiver I'm going to bring up, and he called him the biggest prick on the field. Name me who that receiver is and who said it.
Who's the biggest prick on the field?
Yeah.
And who said it?
Yeah.
I got a little joke here. I would say Dante Johnson said it, talking about Jalen Hurts. But that's just because of the little altercation we know about. No, I have no idea.
They're best friends.
Okay.
So, wait, was it a defensive guy that said it?
No, both offensive.
Yeah,
Both
it's Kittle and Taylor.
Yeah. So let me read this to you guys, and I'm going to explain. Kittle, talking about Trent Taylor, said he's the biggest prick on the field. He kind of takes that into every single game, and you respect it because you've got guys who think that, hey, we can pick on him because he might be smaller, or they're like, I'm stronger than you. He gives everyone his best shots. He doesn't like guys messing with him. So my dog, to answer this question, is Trent Taylor. And I get that's Kittle kind of hyping his boy up, but at the same time, I think there's a lot of honesty to what Kittle is saying. Trent Taylor is a dog. We saw it when he was healthy. He was fighting for every single damn yard he could possibly get. And he's only 5'8", and he looks like he's the hardest guy to tackle on the field. And I will take that. Also, too, in training camp, we heard that Trent Taylor got into a little scuffle with Emmanuel Mosley, and I'm okay with that. We've heard about a handful of scuffles going on all throughout training camp. Jalen Hurd, Dante Johnson, who else? Jalen Hurd and another corner. So it's things like that about Trent Taylor that is making him my dog of this question, because he's coming into this with the chip on his shoulder. He knows he's coming off a really pesky back surgery, and we see how back surgeries go for a lot of NFL players, but Trent Taylor looks like he's fully healthy. And a fully healthy Trent Taylor with this kind of mindset, with what guys are saying about him, really tells me about his work ethic and what he knows he's going to bring to the field. And I think you guys might have talked about it last video, how Trent Taylor can be more effective than just a third down receiver. And I think that's what he's trying to work on the most, is that he's just more than a third down guy. He's more than a situational guy. So it's really underrated and it's really sleeper, but I will go with Trent Taylor because Trent Taylor will make this roster, and Trent Taylor will fight for every yard and honestly finish as a top 3 guy in targets if he finishes the whole season healthy. That's my kind of bold prediction. Trent Taylor is going to possibly lead the league in targets, lead the team in targets. I'm sorry. I'm not saying he's Garoppolo's favorite, but I do feel like Taylor can be the most reliable, even over Pettis and Samuel.
Wow. All right. We'll see, man. You guys heard it from Perry's lips to God's ears, man. You guys heard it, man. I like it, man. Hey, you know what? Stand on your ledge, baby. Like, that's what I'm talking about. Bring some edge, man. Let's go, Perry. That's Anthony, not Perry. Anthony, my bad. I know everyone wants to say that the dog is going to be Hurd because of the scuffles and things like that. Hurd is very talented, and he can be physical. Like as a blocker, he's physical because of that running back that's in him. He's not the like physically like go up and fight for the ball against double coverage or something like that. He's not that guy yet. Not to say that he can't be. He's just not that guy. And this is someone that I was super excited about when we drafted him. But I just don't think he's going to be that guy yet. We're talking about contested catches, guys that are going to make a big catch and pound their chest and let's go. Let's hype up the crowd, the hard hand claps after they make a big play and things like that. I don't think Hurd's that guy yet. I do think that we'll see that from Deebo. And, listening to Anthony, I think I've seen it. I've seen Trent get in the scuffles with Seahawk players and throw him down, and then he's bouncing right back up and he's ready to go. But we'll see what happens, man. I think that's a good question. The other question in there from Mark was that message is long gone.
It was regarding the defensive line and if Thomas and Armstead can grow.
Yes, if the newly revamped defensive line falls flat, basically. What's the solution? What do we do? I want to go last because I have some very unpopular opinions to say on this. So if you guys want to take it, absolutely go ahead. I mean, we haven't heard from Nick in a while, so I don't know if he wants to start it or Anthony, you want to take it, but I'll go last on this one.
Yeah. So the question was, what do we do with our revamped D-line if they don't perform? Is it getting rid of guys or continue to develop guys like Thomas and Armstead? Well, Thomas is going to still continue to get development. Armstead is a free agent, so I'm not sure it's quite like him, but you can talk about Contavious Street, Ronald Blair is on his last year of his contract. Julian Taylor. I don't think you're really, with whoever makes the 53 out of the 9 defensive linemen or 10, whatever we keep. I don't think you continue to cut players and bring other players in, because then you're going backwards. So to me, it's starting to mold and mend these guys that you have up front. If they're not performing this year, then it could be back in, it could be the coaching, it could be the player, it could just be the talent and lack of execution. You've got to figure out what that point is for me. And to me, that's what you do. You just continue to develop and draft and continue to fill those spots. It's not about cutting and getting rid of guys and going backwards.
All right. I like it. All right. Let's make that smaller now. I wanted to make it bigger while you were reading off of it. All right. What do you think there, Anthony, man? If this defensive line, which they've invested a lot of money and draft picks in, man, you look at the first-round picks on its own. You got Armstead. You have Buckner. You have Thomas. You have Bosa. You have D Ford. All of those guys are first-round picks. If they don't perform this year, what's your go-to? What's the move? How do you feel about that?
I think we would honestly, I'm going to say now, if the D-line isn't performing the way it is, this is arguably a lost season, because we have so much riding and so much banking on the D-line to be successful and really get pressure and help force turnovers. And we saw what happened when the team couldn't get any turnovers, and we turned over the ball 3 times as many times as the next team. We had the worst takeaway amount in NFL history. So, like I said, the team is banking that this D-line is going to perform and perform well. If they don't, okay, this is what I was going to say. If they don't, what we saw last season was, I felt like Saleh was really dialing up the blitzes. We saw a lot of inside zone blitzes, corner blitzes, all dogs blitzes, which is basically send everyone. I think we would see that more. Honestly, too, assuming that Saleh has a job at that point, because it's also going to be on him to really get the D-line working. I'm not going to blame Coach Derek. I'm not going to blame any assistant coaches. It's all going to fall on Saleh. And if he can't get it done, I think that's more indicative of his coaching rather than the actual D-line itself. And I'm a big Saleh supporter. I do believe in him. I have faith in him. But he needs to show me and show us that he can take that next step into the defensive coaching echelon and really show that he can be an effective game planner on defense. So with that being said, I want to go back to what Nick was saying about our depth and about everyone we have. I honestly, and you guys can argue with me on this, I think the only 3 down defensive lineman is DeForest Buckner. With all the depth we have, Armstead, Thomas, Bosa, Blair, Jones, Day, etc., it goes on. I think there are so many defensive line pieces we have that we can mix and match and put almost in any situations, whether it be inside run plays, outside run plays, QB sneaks, whatever it can be. We have guys that can do almost anything on that D line. We saw how effective Armstead was on run defense. We saw how effective Thomas was on the inside, albeit who knows what we're going to do with him at this point. So, again, I think Buckner is the only 3-down guy we have on the team. Everyone else is so rotational that we can keep guys fresh and we can keep guys healthy and we can keep guys as effective as possible without having to tire them out. And I do get it too. Part of the game is guys will struggle and guys will have to play a lot longer than others. But the way I see it now is I don't see that happening with this D-line, again, because of the depth that we have. We saw how effective Blair was, and Blair did not play that many snaps at all. And who was the next best sack artist next to him outside of Buckner? Marsh? So I think that
Blair tied, yeah.
Exactly. So I think that shows how much more effective Blair can be as a rotational pass rusher when he has better pieces around him outside of just Buckner. So we're introducing these guys to Bosa, Ford, a better trained Thomas, a hopefully more developed Armstead that can really put almost every defensive line player we have in successful situations. to where we won't need to see Ford on every snap. We won't need to see Bosa on every snap. And I do want to see them play, don't get me wrong, but I also want to see them be used as effectively as possible. If Armstead is better on run defense than Bosa, I want Armstead out there over Bosa, especially if they're expecting a run. If there's a pass play, I want Bosa out there over Armstead. So you get the point? We have all these guys that are rotational and guys that can be effective. And I think that'll be the ultimate success to this team, is that it's not just going to be Ford and Bosa that are successful. It's going to be how effective guys like Armstead are, and guys like Thomas are, and guys like Blair are, and even DJ Jones and Julian Taylor and Sheldon Day, and I can go on and on and on. That's how this is arguably the best problem we have on this team is depth. And we're going to have to make some tough cuts, and it's going to happen. But with the cuts, when the cuts come, we also will realize, too, that the depth is arguably the best in the league, at least top 3, no doubt.
So you gave us a lot there, and I agree with some things I disagree on. I'm going to start with what I disagree with because it's easier to do that. It wasn't a lot. I don't think I want Buckner getting nearly as many snaps as he's been getting in the past. He has been one of those guys that just are content. Matter of fact, I had the snap counts pulled up because we're doing this 53-man article, and when we argue this on this show, I've got some stats and information that I want to use from it. But I have the defensive snaps pulled up here, and Buckner was. It's hard to say overused because of how good he is, but we use him too much. I'm not going to say overused, but he really shouldn't have been going at it like that as much as he was. And so I'm not even going to go into it. We know about Buckner's 1,000+ snaps. You know what I mean? That one year he was the most used defensive lineman in the league. That's unacceptable. You know what I mean? That was with Chip Kelly and how often our defense was on the field. That is insane. What we want to do is get a rotation like what they have in Philadelphia and let these guys come in here and, this is your strength, this is your strength. If this line doesn't perform, which is what the question was, it really is going to come down to, I think, coaching. I think Anthony is right. I'm not going to say that Kosura gets a bye right away because I don't know. But someone's got to be held accountable for it because there's just too much talent. There is a ton of talent on this defensive line right now. But they have to be honest with themselves. If we come out here and we see Solomon Thomas taking 75% of the defensive snaps, we know they're not being honest with themselves. He's got to earn that now. Yeah, we feel bad for him. We want him to rebound. But based off of what we've seen, based off of merit and what he's done, he hasn't earned 75% of the snaps. You get what I'm saying? They have to be honest with it. They can't just say, oh, he's a first-round pick. We got to put him out there, and he's got to play a lot. If they're doing that, then this season is done. I will go on record right now and say that I think the defensive line as a whole is more important than the play of our quarterback. I have no problem saying that right now. I feel like if the defensive line is as good as I think they can be, we can be a playoff contending team with mediocre quarterback play. But that's if the defensive line holds up to the standards that I think they can. So that's what I'm saying. And so, those are my thoughts on it. That was a really, really good question there. So, Nick, I don't know if you want to come back around. I know you spoke on it in the very beginning, but I don't know if you want to come back around and say anything on it.
I don't think Salah gets the blame if they don't perform. I think it's Chris Kosaric. It's definitely the defensive line coach. The defensive coordinator doesn't really coach the defensive line. He just calls certain scenarios, plays, formations, and things like that. If the players aren't executing on the defensive line, it's definitely 100% Chris Kosaric. It's definitely 100% him. Robert Saleh doesn't coach them throughout the day. It's always Chris Kosaric who's with them. He's the one who's coaching them. He's the one the fall should come on if they don't perform. I don't think Robert Saleh has anything to do with that defensive line other than calling the right formations at the right time, changing things up, and getting the call in that position. So other than that, I agree with you, Mike. I think that we can get away with some mediocre quarterback play if the defensive line is producing and we're getting turnovers. If we don't get turnovers, you're going to need better than mediocre quarterback play. I think that's what it really comes down to this year is turnovers and this defense and how they react and play overall as a defensive front. Lost your sound. Time to get another new computer, bro. Get an Apple. Get a Mac. Nope. Nothing. So I'm going to go on to this next question since we were done that, and then you can jump back. It says, are you guys concerned with Mike Person? Garbage ass is scheduled to start again. Would you trade a late round pick for an upgrade? Anthony, what do you think?
No, I love that question. Good question, West Coast. I wouldn't be too concerned because I feel like Shanahan's zone blocking scheme doesn't ask for too much from his offensive line. I think it's really saying go out there. Well, okay, it's a good question. So let me try and reword it. I think if Mike Person can be average at best on both run plays and pass plays, I think he'll be okay. But I do see Person not being the most capable. Like I would keep him as a good backup, don't get me wrong. But honestly, if Josh Garnett can play and if he can play better than Person, I'd rather put Garnett out there. So if anything, to answer the question, if the team doesn't trust in Garnett or trust in some of the guards on the team as it is, I wouldn't mind trading a late round pick on the guy just to at least bolster the team itself and try and get some depth to at least push Person, because the team can definitely do better than Person. And we've seen how Shanahan likes to mix offensive linemen. He likes to get guys in, get guys out. So I do think they can upgrade, but at the same time, I do want to see how Person can do first. I want to see how capable he is of playing left guard, playing right guard, because I know he can play multiple positions. So, yes, I do think they arguably should trade a late round pick for an upgrade, because a late round pick won't matter much if this team is really contending and really competing. I will give away a late 20s, 5th round pick or 4th round pick if it means that we can upgrade at the offensive line position. So, yeah, I would make a trade. Maybe not right away because I do want to see how Person plays in the preseason, because I really want the offensive line to mesh. And we saw that problem last season with Garoppolo, especially against the Lions. He got sacked 6 times. I don't think that's as much of a problem as it is on Garoppolo, but I also think it's as much of a problem that the offensive line wasn't meshed with each other right away, because we've seen so many different offensive line formations and offensive line combinations each season with Shanahan, and these guys haven't really had a chance to mesh and really come together. So we need to see a healthy Rickberg if they want to be able to communicate with everyone on the offensive line. It can't just be Staley. It just can't be McGlinchey. It has to be the whole team. And I think if they can mesh, then I think Person will be a capable guard. But in the meantime, I don't fully see it out of him yet. So the preseason will give us a lot of answers as to how Person will play. But if he does play like Dookie, then yes, I would trade a late round pick for an upgrade, no doubt.
Very interesting, man. You guys know I'm well documented. I'm calling it quits on this guy at this point right now. But I have wanted Mike Person to lose that starting job to my guy, Joshua Garnett, for 2 seasons now. And Garnett just won't come and take it from him. It's right there. It's right there. They barely signed Person back this year. You know, they didn't want to sign him. They let him go to free agency. And then he didn't get any offers. They were like, all right, fine. You can come back here. And they're begging Joshua Garnett to take this job from him, and he just won't do it. He won't do it for whatever reason is. And so, you know, it is what it is. I mean, if it's me, I'm letting Najee Tehran go out there. You guys got to remember that Najee was supposed to get a start in the middle of the season. Person hadn't practiced all week long. Najee was actually announced as a starter, and then going onto the field before the pregame warmups, Person said, "Coach, I'm ready. I'm going in. I'm going to play." And they were like, "No, you got to pass the physical first." And sure enough, he passed that physical. And so I had even text Najee and was like, "Yo, congratulations on the start. I'm ready to watch you go out there and kick ass." He's like, "Yeah, you know, bless up." Something like that. He said it was a real quick, short response. And then the next thing I know, They're saying Person starting. And I was so pissed about that again. I don't want to see Mike Person out there. I don't. He's a decent backup, but that's all he is. We want to see someone go out there and hold it down. Someone you don't have to worry about giving up a ton of pressures, and someone who, gets a fake look his way and he's thrown for a loop. I'm tired of it, man. I want to see somebody go out there, be physical, be consistent, and get to the second level when his time comes. So that's what I'm looking forward to. I thought that guy was going to be Joshua Garnett when he was healthy, but man, I mean, I'll talk about Josh when we get to this 53-man roster. That's when I'll talk about him, man. I don't want to say anything else about this guy because it's bad though. I do think that Person is someone that they got as a safety blanket. You know what I mean? They got Person as a safety blanket. So
I don't think it was. I don't think the Person thing was so much test free agency. He was going to retire. He was going to retire, and then he decided he wasn't, and the Niners re-signed him. He was thinking about retiring. So I don't think it was, go test free agency, see what you get, and then we'll re-sign you. I think it was more to do so with the retirement part of it. But I mean, I don't know what all the hate about Person is. He didn't play that bad last year compared to Weston Richburg. Weston Richburg was by far the worst offensive lineman on our line last year.
That doesn't mean that Person wasn't bad, though.
But I'm just saying, there's no Weston Richburg hate, and he was the worst offensive lineman on our team last year.
Plenty of people hate on Weston. That just wasn't the question. Weston was not good at all.
No, I understand that. And this year, obviously there's nobody in camp that's better than him right now. Than Person. Because nobody has been better than Person in camp.
That's not true.
Well, I mean, either way, we don't know if it's true or not.
He's in limbo. Hold on. Sorry.
Yeah, he turned the camera off, so I moved him. So, but nobody's beating him out. I don't know what to think. I don't know what to think of it. I don't know if
I don't know that no one's beating him out. Every time they ask Kyle Shanahan about who's out there on the offensive line and all that, he's like, "Oh, I don't know. I don't even know what quarterback's in there. I don't know what wide receivers are in. I'm not paying attention to that. I have to go back and look at the film for all that stuff." No one is saying that these offensive linemen are good or these offensive linemen are bad. We hear about how good defensive linemen are doing because we lacked pressure last year. Once the beat writers start turning their attention to how good or bad the offensive linemen are doing, then we'll finally get some answers. Maybe we should reach out to Grant and ask him for some of the bad offensive linemen because we're not getting those reports. You know what I mean? So we have to start trying to see that right now. The beat writers are solely focused on our defensive pass rush was so bad that our corners got picked apart and we didn't get any turnovers. So their focus is the pass rush looks good. The pass rush looks good. Yeah. Fine. The pass rush looks good. We expect that. Now let's see more. I want to know who looks bad on the defense. You know what I mean? So that's how I feel about it.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely is something to be concerned about. I mean, you expect the defensive line and defense to be in front of the offensive lineman right now, but I mean, we've been saying this since, there's no pads on. Then the pads come on, and we're still hearing sacks, and we're still hearing what would be sacks. We're still hearing turnovers in the backfield. So is it just the defensive line is that good, or is it just that our offensive line is just that bad? Something we need to see. I mean, Lakin is out right now too, not playing. Richburg is out right now. The only person that's in there is Person and McGlinchey and Staley. So you're missing two key products. I mean, where are those sacks coming from? Are they coming from Person? Are they coming from where Ben Garland's at? Are they coming from Joe Staley's side? Are they coming from McGlinchey? Are they coming from whoever's filling in for Lakin? So we don't really know where it's coming from, and I guess we'll have to see.
Absolutely. All right. Is that what you want to go to next?
Yeah, let's rock it. We were talking about offensive line, so I seen that question. Our statement: our quarterbacks are holding the ball too long. That's the problem. I haven't been there, so I don't know. what that looks like. So what are your guys' take on this? We've seen this last year.
You want to go first, Anthony, or you want me to dig?
Yeah, I'll get it out of the way. I feel like the quarterback's holding the ball too long or more of a sign that receivers aren't winning their matchups against the defense. Now, I don't know if Hodge is referring to training camp or if he was referring to the previous season, but either way, I feel like from last season, it was more indicative of receivers not getting open and the quarterbacks having to scramble and try to make plays when Mullins and Beathard aren't exactly playmakers. You know, unlike Garoppolo, like we've seen Garoppolo scramble out of the pocket and make almost any throw he wants if he's on it. So I think with this coming season, with drafting guys like Deebo and Jalen Hurd and going after guys like Jordan Matthews and returning guys like Pettis and Kittle and Taylor and those guys, it's like I think there's more expectation that with the added weapons that receivers will hopefully get open, because I love knowing that Shanahan can scheme wide receivers open if he really has to. But I believe that it should be more than just him scheming receivers open. It should be receivers winning their one-on-one matchups against the DBs, or receivers attacking a defense and finding holes in zone, or attacking man and again going after the guy in front of him. So I hope that QBs holding the ball too long aren't just an exact sign that receivers aren't getting open. It's just QBs maybe making bad decisions. Because, again, I want to see the playmaking core, Pettis, Samuel, Kittle, Taylor, Hurd, and even guys like Coleman and McKinnon and Breida finding soft spots in zone on defense and trying to make the most of it. I want to see them attack and get open and not have to make the QB wait longer than 5, 6, 7 seconds. Because, again, like I said last season, when the offensive line wasn't meshed, when Garoppolo was taking as much time as possible to wait for receivers to get open, he was already having to scramble and break the pocket to try and make something happen when our receivers couldn't even get open yet. So to conclude, hopefully with the added weapons, QBs won't have to hold the ball as long. But I don't necessarily think QBs holding the ball too long was as much a problem as it was receivers not winning the matchup in front of them, or receivers trying to find holes in zones where it wasn't just Shanahan scheming them open. It was actually receivers being smart and being aware on the field to know what to do and know where to go at the right time.
Yeah, that's what, I'm going to say that's a bad excuse. It's true. The quarterbacks were holding the ball too long. And people are going to attribute that to the wide receivers not getting open. They're going to say that that's what the issue was. That's what checkdowns are for. That's what throwaways are for. Sacks are sacks. I mean, if you're about to go down, throw the ball away, throw it out of bounds, check it down. You have a guy on your roster who literally did not drop a single pass last year, and that was your check down guy, Matt Breida. You know what I mean? Like you have to take advantage of that. The excuses have to stop. And if you're overthinking, you're doing too much, it's going to be the same thing over and over and over. We know Beathard was holding the ball too long. Beathard was a walking crash test dummy out there. Jimmy Garoppolo was holding on to the ball too long a lot of the times. Nick Mullins came in and he was quick and he was decisive, and those were the games that we won. And then when he started to overthink and hold on to the ball too long, those were the games that we lost. You go in there and you watch Nick Mullins play against the Raiders, and then you go back and you watch the game, not the next game, but the one after that. Two completely different quarterbacks. Overthinking, holding on to the ball too long. They were holding it too long, but they just, like I said, they have to take advantage of it all. There's outs, there's throwaways, there's checkdowns. Do something with the ball other than hold it and lose yards and set your team further behind the sticks. That's what you're getting paid for. You have to be a cerebral quarterback in the system more than you have to be a physically gifted one. And that's what it comes down to, in my opinion. So I hope that answered the question there from Hodge. Let's see here. I have 2 more points here. And this one is actually about a defensive player also, a 5th-round pick in Dre Greenlaw. He had a huge day. On day 8 of practice, or maybe 7. It says Greenlaw is flashing like crazy. Passes broken up, tackles for loss, and an interception. This guy was everywhere on the field, man, making plays. Guys, do we have a position controversy? Is Greenlaw going to take Malcolm Smith's job? Talk about it, fellas.
I think Dre Greenlaw is eventually going to take Malcolm Smith's spot. I don't think it's this year, though. Not that Dre Greenlaw won't play, but why rush Dre Greenlaw? Like, why put him under fire right now? I think this year Malcolm Smith is on the roster, but I think you start seeing more of a rotation type of thing in certain situations. And even though Malcolm Smith isn't good, I still think you don't rush a player. Fred Warner had to get rushed. Still thinks he can get better on. Not saying he's not good. He's a beast, but there were still things he needs to get better on. Dre Greenlaw is a little bit different. He's a later round pick. Why push him in there when you have somebody there? If that person is competing, then I think both of them make the roster this year. Probably, it's going to be really, really hard. Really depends. But I want to make sure that Dre Greenlaw isn't rushed into something to where it stunts his growth and he has to learn a lot faster. Because I think Dre Greenlaw is going to be a really good linebacker in the league.
Anthony, man, your thoughts, bro?
I have a slightly different approach. I think Dre Greenlaw, if Malcolm Smith struggles, will take his starting spot eventually. I do agree with Nick, though. I don't think Greenlaw should be shoved into the fire right away. I do think he should get the majority of the snaps when the preseason comes around, because I do really want to see how effective he can be on the field. But with that being said, hearing how impressive he is now, if he has a really impressive preseason, I'm still putting Malcolm Smith as my starting Sam, but Greenlaw will be penciled in as the second. And another thing I agree with Nick on too is that I think they could be rotational also. I think they'll mix and match Smith and Greenlaw and see how effective and ineffective they can be on certain situations. But right now, it seems like Greenlaw is just hunting for the ball. He's just hunting to make a play and make something happen. I don't think we've seen that out of Malcolm Smith, honestly, in his whole career. And that's what this team needs that we have lacked since Patrick Willis, Navarro Bowman is playmaking linebackers. And I think that's part of the reason why they got Quan Alexander, too, is to get a linebacker who can play make. And I think that was the whole focus of this offseason, was just adding defensive playmakers who can make something happen. So with that being said, I think Greenlaw is another piece of the puzzle that can make stuff happen on defense. Whereas Malcolm Smith, I really feel like have you guys ever heard from Malcolm Smith, oh, Malcolm Smith, what a forced fumble, or Malcolm Smith flies in for the sack and it's really exciting. Like you haven't really heard about Malcolm Smith from this whole entire time he's been with the team. And right now it seems like Greenlaw has that ability to play make and make things happen, whereas Malcolm Smith hasn't ever really shown anything in his entire tenure other than being an average at best starting linebacker. So Greenlaw already, it seems like he has everything that it takes to be a starter, but I would not put him in there come regular season right away unless he has a really outstanding, impressive preseason where I can comfortably say he already looks better than Malcolm Smith. So rotational, I think, will happen eventually. I do think he will take Malcolm Smith's starting job, but I would not put him in there right away, no.
Well, we really got to do this 53-man roster because I'm going to start giving away all my stuff here. I got one of these guys not making the 53. I'm not going to say which one. You guys are going to have to tune in for that show. But between Greenlaw and Malcolm Smith, I have one of them not making the roster. And I will say Malcolm Smith makes a lot of money, even though he took that salary reduction. So I'm not sure that we're just going to cut him just for some rookie. So we'll see what happens, though. It'll be interesting to pay attention to, something that we're going to have to watch during preseason closely because we just don't know how it's going to play out. I agree with what you guys were saying about Malcolm Smith being a liability in coverage. Again, my uncle called me when we got Malcolm Smith, And I said hello, and his exact response was, he just started laughing at me. I had no idea what he called me for and why he was just laughing. I'm like, what's going on? And he kept on laughing. I said, hello, what's wrong with you? Y'all got Malcolm Smith. Like that was his reaction as a Raiders fan. That he is going to be the target on third downs if he's out there. You'll see. You will see. And not that he was out there on third downs, but damn it if he wasn't right about being a liability in pass coverage. So we will see what happens, man. Greenlaw, players can flash in camp. Players can flash on certain days. It's about putting it together and being consistent. And so, the team might feel a little bit more security with Malcolm Smith. They might feel like, at least we know what he is. We know the worst of Malcolm Smith. We don't know the worst of Dre Greenlaw yet. And so they might feel a little bit more comfort in that. I don't know, the lesser of two evils. I don't know, man. We'll see. We'll have to see what happens there.
Do you know what Malcolm Smith's new contract is? Because it's not a whole lot of money.
I can pull it up if you give me 1 second.
No, I know what it is. I can tell you. I was just asking you if you knew what it was.
Oh, no, not off the top of my head. No, I know it's too much money. He shouldn't be on the roster.
It's a base salary of $1.25 to $1,250,000 for 2019. That's what it is. He's a free agent next year. He got a $4.2 million signing bonus, and his base salary this year is $1.25.
Yeah, but they've already given him $4.2 million for this year. He's already getting that.
Well, he already had that from his signing bonus. They just changed his signing bonus, and they cut his years back and only gave him this year in base salary of $1 million.
Right, but when he signed that contract this offseason, they gave him a check. Here's $4.2 million.
Right.
So that's what I'm saying.
Which would be dead money.
Yeah, we'll lose that. But even what I'm saying, I don't care about the dead money or not. But he's already for 2019, 2020 made $4.2 million. Boom, already.
Oh, he's a free agent next year. He's not under contract next year.
I didn't say he wasn't. I said for 2019, 2020. Talking about this season, just this one season, 19 to 20. He's already made $4.2 million.
Okay. Well, you threw me off when you said 20 because he's a free agent in 2020.
Yes.
So that's why when you said 2020, you mean 2019 going into 2020 season.
Right. Yeah. For this one season, whether he makes the 53-man roster or not, $4.2 million in his bank account. To me, that's a lot of money for a guy who plays, 35% of the snaps or whatever, or however often a Sam linebacker is out there. So that's a lot of money just be letting them walk. And I don't know if the Niners are in business to do that. I wish I knew what his contract was before that, but it is what it is. We will definitely have to see what happens because that's one of the battles that I'm looking forward to seeing play out in front of us. And dark horse is going to be Elijah Lee. We shouldn't forget about Elijah Lee being out there, and he's pretty quick and he's pretty athletic, and I think that he can do a lot of good things also. Not Nick might have been on something where I think Dre Greenlaw gets it eventually, but maybe not right away. It could be another dark horse like Elijah Lee, so we will see. And the last thing I have here for my day 8 notes was practice ended with a successful 1-minute drive for the offense. Now, why is this important? Last year and the year before, the 49ers had so many opportunities to close games out. So many opportunities if they could just score quickly, and they could not do it. And I, for one, thought it was really cool to see that we finally ended a 1-minute, not a 2-minute drive, a 1-minute drive with a touchdown. I don't have any stats. I don't have any kind of
it was a field goal. Oh, we lost your sound again. Can't hear you. Nope. Still can't hear you. Tap, tap, tap. Where you at?
Okay, so Mike was basically talking about how effective the offense was with 1 minute to go. Was that the point?
Yeah.
He was making? Okay. So
I was just correcting him because he said they went down for a touchdown. So I was just like, it was a field goal. They didn't score a touchdown. Either way, it doesn't matter. You still got points off of it. But then, There we go.
And no, so that's what I was saying is that they were it says that the practice ended with a successful 1-minute drill for the offense. And that might be the difference between a 2-minute drill and a 1-minute drill. I think in 1 minute, you're just trying to get some points on the board before you go in half or before you're in the game. You know what I mean? And so, but the thing is that they scored in a hurry. 1 minute, I don't know where they started from. They probably gave them 1 minute, one timeout, and let them play the sidelines and things like that. And that's going to really show you how about the precision, the route running, and how in tune these guys are with the specific play that's called. You know what I mean? They're going to call this play in the huddle. You got to go. You know what I mean? Or they're going to give you 6 symbols, and when the quarterback does that's one play. You know what I mean? He's going to look one side. He's going to do that. He's going to look one way, and then when he get the next play is this. The next play is this. They're going to give you your symbol. You have to know your shit in order for this to be successful. You can completely ruin a 1-minute drive if one player's out of sync. And so that's what I like to see there. It gives me a lot of hope that mentally these wide receivers, I have no idea who was on the field. It could have been all veterans. It could have been all the best wide receivers in the world. I don't know who was out there, but it lets me know that these guys are synced up and they're mentally in it this year. And that's a really, really good sign. So I don't know about how long the drive was. I don't know who was out there or anything like that, but it's really, really encouraging to see that a 1-minute drive was successful against this defensive line that they keep bragging about. So I like that. Any thoughts on the 1-minute drive?
Yeah, real quick. I felt like last season, even with Mullins and even partly with Beathard playing, I felt like when the team did no huddle or the team was within 2 minutes, 3 minutes, something about that felt like the team was really effective, again, up until we got to the red zone. So I do like seeing field goals being scored. Maybe the field goal was the game plan, but I do want to see effective touchdown drives happen within 2 minutes because a lot of the time last season, it did feel like it was mostly just Robbie Gould field goals to end the drive or end a quarter. So I want to see playmaking. I want to see things happen within 2 minutes that just go for touchdowns, not field goals. I get that we paid Robbie Gould, and that's a totally separate argument to have regarding Robbie Gould. But, we signed him to kick 30s and 40s. I don't just want him to be our guy on 10s and 20s with 2 minutes left because I don't want to think about him kicking field goals when we should be scoring touchdowns, especially within 2 minutes. So although small in training camp, seeing the offense be productive and seeing them mesh together and seeing them be impactful within a minute left is huge. I think that's a big step in the right direction.
I mean, just the 1-minute drills, being able to get down into scoring position of any type because you don't know what the situation is in the game. They could have said, oh, we have a minute left. We're down by 2. We need a field goal to win this game. Let's go and do it. The play calling could have been different. Could have been like, oh, we just need to get to such and such to kick this field goal. Or we need to get here, and this is what we're going to do. We're going to be conservative. We're going to do this and march down. But either way, you get in a scoring position, you have a chance to win the football game, and we don't know what the situation was. So I like the 1-minute drill.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was my last note that I have for this one, guys. So I don't know if there's anything else you guys want to touch on. I got some clips for another show later on, but I don't know if you guys want me to play that now or not. Shanahan said something that I thought was really interesting. But like I said, we don't have to do that right now. We can save that for another show this week.
It was just, big news that DeForest Buckner returned. So nothing to be worried about there. The knee tendonitis, D Ford got, what was it, a PHP? Is that what it's called? PHP. Is going to be missing about a week. Joshua Garnett's still out with his finger. Jeff Wilson Jr. still out with a calf. Akello Witherspoon had a glute, did not practice.
Are y'all buying that still? Y'all still believe in that? Y'all
What?
think that he hurt his butt and he's missed 3 or 4 practices already?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, glutes are painful, so I don't know.
All right.
It's a PRP. Sorry, it's a platelet-rich plasma injection. That's what it is. Out for another week. Let's see. Offense finally managed to wear the defense down on Sunday, which is something that we haven't really heard a lot. Another name that popped out was DJ.
When I think, is that the play, that the drive that Shanahan was talking about where the offense was wearing them down, but then it resulted in the turnover? He said that I felt like we were finally wearing them down. It was the first time all practice, and then that was the turnover, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I didn't want you to keep going before. I didn't want to I hate rewinding back to something.
No, you're good. DJ Jones had several run stops. Solomon Thomas and Julian Taylor also notched pressures on the day. That was another thing. We haven't really heard much of DJ Jones's name, Sheldon Day's name, even Solomon Thomas. You haven't really heard much of. Julian Taylor as well. So, gotta see. I mean, it's a long camp, guys. I'm kind of interested to see what happens on Saturday. Saturday, right? Saturday night? Yeah. I keep seeing Sunday, and it keeps throwing me off. Saturday night, I know Mike will be in Canada drinking it up. So, I don't know if
I got my passport today. I want to show you guys the picture, but I don't want all my personal shit out there. It was pretty funny.
Yeah, I could imagine. I could only imagine. How many times did the guy have to take the picture?
He only did it once, believe it or not. He's like, "Are you ready?" And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Are you ready?" I'm like, "Yeah." "Yes." "Did you take it?" "Oh yeah, I did it already." I was like, "What the fuck? When are you gonna tell me so, bro?" I'm sitting here like a dumbass. I'm like, "Yeah." "Yes." "I'm ready." Like he's just letting me sit there. Oh man,
that's funny. But yeah, we haven't heard. I'm kind of interested to see what happens Saturday night. See who's out there. See how many plays they're getting. Because I think we'll probably see. It's going to be pretty interesting to see who is playing that nose tackle position. Who's going to be playing that? The opposite of Nick Bosa and D Ford. Who's going to be playing on the outsides? Obviously, DeForest Buckner probably won't play much. Hey Nick, how's your injury? I'm still on the IR. Probably be on the IR for a little bit. So
as soon as he gets off, he's doing that pass and punt challenge that I did. I promise you guys, I won't be the only one on NB Niners to make a fool of themselves on camera.
No, I won't make a fool of myself. Throwing, maybe. Kicking, I'm probably not. Punting, probably not. Throwing, yeah. My arm is nowhere near as strong as it was before surgery. So I will definitely make an ass of myself with that one. And when I can finally get my arm above my head, like my left arm, like this, then we're good. Because this is all I get right now. So I can't. I got a high five. I got a high five. I got a high five at the home opener with my left hand. I know.
He's leaning over. He's trying to push out a fart.
No, I couldn't get in the camera so you could see my shoulder. Because you can't see my shoulder. Like that. There we go. So, but yeah, definitely still on the IR, man.
All right, man. That's all I got. We're going to try to bring you guys some videos this week. I am on a super, super short week. I leave for Canada on Thursday, and we usually do shows on Thursday. I'm actually really anxious to get to a fan interaction show with all these features that we have now, where we can just pull the comments up and just have a ton of questions coming in and we can just answer them on here. But the bad thing is that I'm personally not going to be around this week. We also have to try to get the I know
we got a special guest coming on sometime this week too.
Yeah, we have to get the Cowboys fangirl back on to preview the game as well. And I want you guys to be here and interactive for that so she can see the comments. I want you guys to be nice. All right. We don't need to talk about her looks the whole time. She did appreciate that, though.
Or understand that, yes, this is a Niners show, but we are doing a behind enemy line segment, getting to know your opponent type things. Because I don't like seeing the comments, I thought this was nothing but Niners. Well, yes, this is nothing but Niners. If you watch the show, you'll understand what it's about. So pay attention to the description.
The Niners do have to play other football teams, too, by the way. They don't just play themselves in practice.
It might be why this is the best time of year for us. I don't know, man. It's Niners on Niner violence. This is a good question we have in here. How many sacks y'all think Bosa will have this year?
I'm going to say 8.
8. Anthony says double digits, so Anthony got 42.
49.
I'm gonna give him 10.5. I'm gonna give him 10.5.
Do you guys know what Aldon Smith had his rookie year?
Do we know who had his rookie year?
11,
11.
Alvin had 11 or 11 and a half.
Yeah.
Well, not counting playoffs because he had a couple in the playoffs also. If you give me a second, I will tell you.
Because that's a pretty good question. I think I honestly believe that we could expect a similar year that Bosa could have compared to Aldon Smith had his rookie year. And
he had 14 sacks his rookie year.
so that goes into my point. I think Bosa will reach double digits. I don't think it'll be 19. But between 10 and 14, I think is very reasonable. Now, this could segment off into another thing, but I don't know how much longer you guys are going. Do you guys think D Ford can be as effective or more effective than Justin Smith was when he was a Niner? Because right now, a lot of people are comparing the situations to how that was then versus what we're looking at now. So, what do you guys think? Do you guys think D Ford's impact will be like Justin Smith? Better, worse, about the same?
I'm going to go last because I have a super unpopular answer here, so I'm going to go last.
I don't even think I can compare them to. I mean, they're different types of players. Like, Justin Smith was just a bull.
Well, all right. So how about if Justin Smith played 10 defensive snaps, how many do you think he'll have a direct effect on? And if D Ford played 10 defensive snaps, how many do you think he'll have a direct effect
on? Justin Smith, I'd probably say out of 10 plays, I'd probably say 6.
That's exactly my answer for that. Wow.
Probably 6. D Ford, I would probably go in that. They're just two different positions. One's coming off the edge, one's coming from the inside. So, I mean, I'd probably put it somewhere around the same.
I'm going to give
5, maybe.
More or less the question. Do you think Justin Smith's impact, how it was then, will be about as impactful as D Ford can be?
Yeah,
go ahead.
Oh, go ahead, Nick. Or Mike. I said go ahead, Nick.
Go ahead, Nick. Oh, this dude needs to go to sleep. He just told himself to go ahead.
Oh, man.
No, go ahead. Finish out your thought.
No, I was just going to say it's hard to compare them because they're two different positions. There's two different situations on the field. I mean, where D Ford is just going to be a speed rush compared to Justin Smith has to deal with double teams or even single coverage, and he's coming from the inside. He doesn't have a direct angle. So to me, I mean, it's really hard to compare.
Okay. But Buckner. Bosa has Buckner now. Is that a little more easy to compare to?
I mean, it's still different positions. Like if you were taking D Ford and Nick Bosa and you were taking Aldon Smith and D Ford, they play the same position. Like I can't do a down defensive tackle against an up defensive end outside linebacker. It's two total different positions. Like who's going to have more? I mean, if you said, especially as a sack technician as D Ford is, if you said Cassius Marsh and Justin Smith, I'd tell you Justin Smith all day because Cassius Marsh doesn't have the ability of speed, bull rush, hands, feet that D Ford has. So to me, it's really hard. I think D Ford could probably be more successful on 10 straight plays of pass rush than Justin Smith would because he's not going up against as much as Justin Smith is. He's going up against one tight end or an outside tackle, and he's going to beat those guys more than Justin Smith would. But it's just two total different roles. So it's hard to physically say. If you gave me two same positions, it'd probably be a lot easier to answer. But compare, cut Aldon Smith and D Ford, who do I think will have more of an impact? I don't know. Aldon Smith was a beast. He just couldn't put the bottle down.
Aldon Smith had 19 and a half sacks one year.
Yeah.
He was a monster.
Yeah, he was a monster.
Yeah, my question came off weird. Sorry, but basically the point is that with the addition of D Ford and Buckner, we have guys who can be just as impactful as that D line was then.
Well, yeah.
So, I guess to ask the better question
Don't
is
ask a better question. Wait,
okay.
let me answer your bad question.
Sorry, Mike. Sorry.
So I asked Nick that out of 10 plays, how many do you think Smith will affect? He said 6. I'm with him on that. I'm going to say 7.5, 8 for Ford, only because Ford does more than just. Listen, Justin Smith was good against the pass and the run. He was disruptive in the pass game. He was a beast in the run game, right? I've never seen Justin Smith like miss a tackle from that 2011 or 2014 stretch or 2013 stretch. Like if he stuck his arm out and if he got a guy with his fingertips, he was going to bring him down, right? But here's the difference. D Ford can also drop in coverage. I know the Niners are pretending like he's not going to do that this year, but if I'm going to have a guy that is a sack master that can also drop in coverage and is athletic enough to do it, I'm going to tell the entire world he's not doing it because I don't want them preparing for it. And so I think that D Ford just has one more tool in the box so that way he can adjust and have a little bit more impact on, 7 or 8 out of 10 plays. So that's why I'm going to go with him.
Can I just bring up something real quick? Steve just shared with us. He said that Ian Rappaport just tweeted out the Arizona Cardinals did work out veteran free agent wide receiver Michael Crabtree earlier today, source said, but there are no plans to sign him at this time. Some due diligence from Arizona. So the report earlier that came out, I know a lot of people were talking about in here, breaking news, Crabtree signs with Arizona. We all thought that, but supposedly he has not signed with Arizona yet, just so people know.
Hey, guys, when you guys want to start saying this is nothing but Niner show, here's your chance. Type that shit in right now.
Well, I'm just saying. People were talking about it earlier, so.
I'm just telling them to give you a hard time, bro. I saw the comments in there earlier. I know what you're talking about.
So that's it. That's all I got. But no, I agree with you that D Ford can be more impactful because he plays more. So coverage, run, pass. I think he's got more moves than Justin. I think he's more of an impactful player, as in what he brings to the table compared to Justin Smith. But Justin, don't get me wrong, Justin Smith was a bull.
And he was efficient. That's the thing. Yeah. That's where it's tough. It's not who can do more.
Like, you've said it on the show. Alden Smith is what Alden Smith was in San Francisco because of Justin Smith.
Absolutely.
The stunts, everything. I mean, I totally agree with you on that. Justin Smith made Alden Smith who he was because they had to focus so much on Justin Smith that Alden Smith just had that speed. And that's what we're hoping kind of see this year with DeForest Buckner or D Ford or DeForest Buckner or Nick Bosa. Those type of things. Eric Armstead, those type of things we're looking to see this year.
Absolutely. I'm excited, man. This is going to be a fun year. This is going to be a fun it's going to be a fun week, man, leading up to this game. I mean, there's so much to look forward to, and we're going to try to do a show from that. Listen, guys, I'm going to be in Canada. I understand all that, and I'm going to be on the road Thursday, driving up there, and Friday getting there and things like that. But I promise you guys, if Nick sets this up and he sends me a link, you guys are going to see my mug. I can't tell you that I'm going to be showing you the room that I'm in and what we're doing, but you guys are going to see my mug, and I'm going to give you a couple of comments while I can, all right? So I'm looking forward to interacting with you guys some more. My fingers are crossed that I get to see the game on Saturday and overreact with you guys. The good thing is that it's the late game, and so that gives me the best chance because Saturday nights at a bachelor party is usually when it goes down, so the later the better. And so it gives me a chance to be out here. I want to tell you guys to find me on PlayStation. I just downloaded Madden. I know, right? Look at me trying to be like cool and not going out and buying the actual CD. I downloaded it, which apparently takes up more memory than having the disc. Who knew? I still have to do the updates and downloads when I do it the other way, so it is what it is. But you guys can find me on there. I'm going to type the name that I logged in as. I stole it from Nick, so he couldn't get it. But my name on PlayStation is actually Nothing But Niners. So find me there. And let's play some Madden. I'm gonna kick some ass out. I'm really, really bad at Madden. So if you guys beat me, you can't brag about it. All right. It's like me beating my son in basketball. It's not anything worth pounding your chest on. I promise. All right. Oh my God. Who clicked on that? Did I click that? Oh. I was like, yo, I did not just I got no comments. What happens out of the country stays out of the country. All right. I told my wife that, we're married as long as we're in the same country. So I'm going to have fun. Where's my wedding ring at? Where is it at? Huh? You see where it's supposed? Oh wait, shit, wrong hand. You see where it's supposed to be, but it's not there. This inverted screen got me again, guys. All right, no, I'm kidding, man. I just left my wedding ring out in the living room. So that's it, man. Let's get up out of here. We're lollygagging here. Guys, keep the questions and comments coming in. If you guys have anything that you want to discuss before the Cowboys game, hit us up on Twitter, guys. You can see the handles right there underneath all of our names. I am 49ers Mike _NFL. Nick is 49er Faithful 365, and Anthony is Perry _NB9. You can use the hashtag AskNB9ers. If you guys have any questions on any social media platform, you can use that hashtag. We search it out before we do a show, and we will answer those questions for you guys, especially if you have anything leading up into the game and you want us to discuss it this week. Please, please, please let us know, all right? I've got nothing else to say. Anthony, what about you, man?
No,
We know Anthony has something to say.
No, I think I've had enough questions.
All right. Hey, Kev, I see your comment, man. I value my life, but my wife don't watch the shows all the way through, so I'm safe. As long as y'all don't tell her, I'm good, okay?
Bro, she's got a can up to that door like this right now.
She might be standing right outside the door. I'm not sure. It's too quiet out there.
Hi, Melissa. Mike said it. Wasn't me.
Shut up.
Mike said it.
All right, man. Anything else, man? Let's get up out of here. This
Nope,
was
I'm
fun.
good.
What's that?
I'm good.
All right, man. You guys know the deal already. Prepare for glory.
Anticipate pain.
Always remain faithful.
We out of here. Peace.